Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Sunless Citadel. We are back. It feels like it's been forever since we've gotten this gang together to play some D&D, and we are here now with everybody, except somehow Cantriel and Vi, you got switched around again. What did you do?
That was my bad. My internet crapped itself.
Okay, let's see if we can remember this. So Megan, turn yours off, and V, turn yours off. V, turn yours on. Nope, V, turn yours off. Megan, turn yours on. And then V, turn yours on. And there we go. We are back.
I'm home.
Now we're back, and everybody's where they're supposed to be. I feel like I'm off center in this frame here. I switched some things around, and it's making it hard for me to get in. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Twitch tonight. It's a little bit of a change for this particular campaign as we are single streaming to just Twitch. But if you're popping in for a second, you don't have time to watch or whatever, or this is your first time here and you want to get caught up, you can head over to youtube.com/miniterraindomain, where you can see the previous 9 episodes of the Sunless Citadel. And the VOD for this session will be posted to YouTube on Saturday. This is episode 10, Underground Garden Party. Not that kind of party. But, man, I'm just so excited to have you guys all here again. I was watching the replay of last session, and earlier today. It's been 3 weeks since we've played the Sunless Citadel. It's been 4 weeks since Megan was with us. So, real quick, I'm going to have each of our guests go around, explain who they are, where we can find them on the internet, tell us who you're playing, and then I'm going to go over a couple house rules real quick and explain the domain dice, and then get right into the recap and play some D&D. So let's start with Mr. Scotty. And right off the bat, he starts muted.
And I still don't have this figured out. Okay. It's the 10th game and I still haven't. Okay, never mind. I am DM Scotty. I like to craft things for my D&D table, and I like you to watch me do it. I have a channel called theDMsCraft, and you can check that out. I also am in Quest Givers. That's something I'm starting with Griveth. From the DMG info, and we're writing some awesome adventure quests. We have a free one up there now. If you join the mailing list, you can get that. So go to questgivers.com. And I'm playing with Griveth. I am a paladin who was formerly a soldier and is coming into his power, learning how to deal with it, and fitting into the group as best he can. So yeah, that's Griveth and me, DM Scotty.
Yes, and Griveth, we did, in the last session, we learned as Griveth went into a grapple that Griveth had tapped into his background that he was a wrestler. And so we opened up the polls and had some suggestions in the chat. And then we opened up the polls on Twitter, and the unanimous vote, or the overwhelming vote, for Griveth's high school wrestling name or amateur wrestling name was
Knight of Smite.
That's right, Griveth, the Knight of Smite. So thank you to everybody that participated in that. With that, we are going to move on to Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice. And tonight I am playing Vi, who at the moment is a dog. So we'll see, or a wolf.
Well, a wolf.
Yeah, so that's better. So
a danger
we'll
dog.
So we'll see where that goes. I've been working on my barking and my growling. I think that,
Next up, it is the patron saint of the domain die. It is Jeremy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy. I have the YouTube channel, the Erasmus Expeditions, like it says down here on the can. Jake so nicely put in here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. I run all kinds of games, and I have some crafting videos and videos where I talk about RPGs. Two people in this video actually will be guests on that show in the future. Megan, somewhere there, and Jake. So I'm super duper excited to have them on the show. And yeah, tonight I am going to be finally stepping back into the shoes, the boots of Talmud, the unlucky. He's a dwarf who has some familial issues that seem to kind of follow him around a little, literally.
That's putting it mildly. And finally, it's V.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I am V. I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse, where you can see how to make terrain, paint minis, some little tips for gameplay accessories and things like that. I am also, if you see me talking over in this direction, I'm speaking to one of the other Terra Muffins. Kelly is here at my house because she and I are going to PAX tomorrow. See, that's Kelly's hand. So I will be at PAX tomorrow for the whole weekend. Please make sure to stop me if you see me, because I am going to have those Crafting Muse D6 custom die for you as well. So excited to see who's going to be there. And I'm excited to jump back into Cantriel. We haven't played in a while, and I am super excited to get back into it because this is just such a fun group to play with, for sure.
All right. Well, I am stoked to be going back into this campaign with these four amazing players and just these characters. I love everything about this. Real quick reminder of some house rules and an explanation of the domain dice down below here. In case you're watching on a screen that's a little too small to read it, what that says is for 500 bits or a $5 donation, the donation bar is down below the video on Twitch. You can purchase a domain die for the players. The domain dice allow them to re-roll any D20 roll and take the new results. Also, they often find themselves wanting to force me to re-roll a D20 roll. For some reason, they don't like it when my monsters roll nat 20s. So they can force re-rolls for me as well, spending those domain dice. But I do not spend the domain dice. Those are just for the players. So if you want to impact the campaign in a small way, 500 bits or $5. We also grant domain dice for raids, subscriptions, resubscriptions, and whatever else whatever else comes our way. So quick reminder too, that drinking a potion in my games, I don't know if we've done that in this one yet or not, I don't remember, but drinking a potion is a bonus action. Does not take a full action to do that. Critical hits are maximum damage. That's whatever your dice and modifiers would do, maxed, and then roll your damage dice one more time. Critical misses will either be nothing happens, or narratively there might be something bad that happens. More often than not, for both the players and the NPCs or monsters, it's going to result in a opportunity attack. I think that's it for the house rules. If anything else comes up, we'll deal with it during the session. So does anybody, because it's been a while, does anybody want to attempt a recap for a point of inspiration?
I think our bard should do that.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that to me.
And she should sing it.
Hell no.
Or sing it in rhyme.
Go on, Billy, sing it.
Hell no, I don't even, I'm barely, okay, so hold on. It was, we had just gone down the well, and we were in the, it was Weekend at Brunel's, right?
Yep, last episode was Weekend at Brunel's.
Okay, hey, I remembered his name. That's something. So then basically we had gone down the well, Vi seeing Brunel with his horned helmet thing, and after getting her little backstory previously for that, basically sort of freezed up and went into different animal forms on us. Okay, cool. That's fine. So we basically fought Burnell and his 2 little they weren't little ratkins. They took like this enlargement thing that he gave them. So they had all grown in size, and we were fighting the rats and Burnell, and killed them dead. And then we went wandering into, there were 3 different doors, right? So we went to one of the doors and found goblins, and they shot at us. So we shot back at them. And then we went into another room. Or was this where the hallway kicked? I think this is like where like the long hallway kicked in, and there were other rooms offshooting it. So then Talmud went into one of the rooms, and Talmud took over the role. Well, like he was a bard all of a sudden for the goblins, talking with them and relaying stories back and forth. And somehow we made friends with them. And their leader, who is the son of the old goblin lady leader, whose name I'm blanking on right now, back in the other room, who asked us to help her with Burnell and Mr. Evil Druid Man. How'd I do?
Yeah, that sounds good. Do you remember the name of the goblin that you spoke to?
Maybe if we played every week, I could. Where'd I write it?
It's on the tip of my tongue. It had a.
Wasn't it the T? No.
I remember Scotty specifically saying that sounds like a very goblin name.
Is it Grenell? Grenell?
No, Bernal was the Grenell was
Grenell.
the matron.
Yeah.
And then Kumdrakar, I think that's a dwarven name.
Oh, I don't have it. I don't know where I wrote it.
Oh, it doesn't matter. He left.
He's gone.
Yeah, he basically told you guys. They showed you. Well, first, and the reason I got distracted right at the very end there. Thank you to the individual who donated $5 for a domain die. I've already credited that to you.
Nice.
I'll say Jason E. Thank you so much for that donation through Twitch. The players, I guarantee you, will use that this session. But yeah, the goblin showed you the experimentations that were taking place in this laboratory, and you had seen a rat, one of these giant rats that had these tumors all over its body. The tumors all over its body that were kind of wooden, and it was like it had like the bowls you'd find on a tree, its whiskers were like the wispy little vines with little leaves, and he explained to you that Belloc had been experimenting with the various creatures down in the Grove area and corrupting them, and that he was evil and needed to be stopped. And then he showed you there were 2 ways you could go, one through a room to the northeast, and said that would lead through some arboretums, and that there was a dragon shrine that way. And then he showed you a passage through the southeastern room, and said that you could go that way as well. So, also, as we established, Vi is in wolf form, having gone through several kind of wild magic surges and transformations. I would like to start out with, as this goblin has left and taken his few other goblin commoners with him, I would like to know what the rest of you are doing. Don't all speak at once.
I was going to say, who wants to start? Well, do we know which way we want to go yet, or should we just throw something at the wind and go with that?
Did the goblin tell us which way? It's Burnell, right?
Bernal was the hobgoblin that you fought.
Oh, right. Okay. Who's the other? Did he tell us who the new guy is? Who the weird guy is?
I think it's Belloc.
Belloc
Okay.
is Belloc is the
Okay.
evil druid that's down
Okay.
in that area.
Yeah, there were two different paths that the goblin described to us, and one
Yeah.
was like all kinds of wild things, new kinds of monsters and stuff supposedly live there, and they don't go that way. But I can't remember the detail about the other one that he gave us, the one that they typically take.
What he had told you was that to the north that there were several gardens in that area.
Okay.
So it's a matter of, do we want to go tiptoeing through the tulips, or do we want to just get right down to it and get Belloc?
Well, personally, I think I'd rather just go straight to the man and try to see if we can't kill him. So whatever the shortest path is, that would be my vote.
Is it over and done with?
Aye.
Quite frankly, I'm with you on that one.
Well, isn't that a first?
Well, wonders never cease. It's certainly a first, but let's keep going with it if we could. What about you, Griveth?
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm good with either way. I'll go with whatever everybody. I don't really have an opinion either way. I don't know. Not knowing what we're facing exactly. It's hard to make a decision.
Well, doesn't seem our druid's quite ready to speak up yet. That probably would be of some service, but
We just haven't had much luck with people getting separated from the party.
Talmud kind of leans over towards where Cantriel and Griveth are standing and kind of puts his hand over his mouth. Maybe she can smell the proper path that we should take.
And with that, we're going to do a couple things real quick. One is we're going to throw another domain die on there for the Scraticus raid that just happened, bringing a party of 26 people in to the stream right at the beginning. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for the domain die. And sorry, I was trying to track down, one of my things wasn't working. The donation that came in from Groundsman that gave you the other domain die had a message with it for Griveth's first roll, which is going to be a 2. So just keep that in mind, as Groundsman has provided that one domain die specifically for you, Griveth. So we're going to, as Talmud says this about maybe she can smell the way.
Yes, animals tend to know which way is the foulest. You know, she might be able to tell us something. That's a great idea.
Vi, I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
It's an 8.
You do not know how much time has passed. You have visions that have flashed through your head of right around the time the last thing you consciously remember is Bernal and the giant rats coming in and Bernal's antlered helm drawing your gaze and his vow of enmity against you as he claimed that he was going to get you this time. And it triggered something in your memory, Vi. And for a moment, everything flashes and you're back in that farmhouse. You're back there seeing the bodies, the destroyed bodies of your parents. And you turn and you see that antlered figure looking in the window. Tell us what else happens in this vision.
Vi ignores the antlered man for a moment and runs towards her mother, her father, and one of her sisters. She approaches them as if she's going to check to see if they're still alive, still breathing. But she stops. She sees the huge gashes across necks, chests, faces. And she just retches. But she immediately thinks to her other siblings. They must still be here. They must still be alive. She must go and see them.
There's an interruption as you retch and this thought crosses your mind, and you see a flash of a human warrior, a dwarven fighter screaming with a rage, an elven woman fighting against a impossibly large hobgoblin or bugbear. I keep mixing it up. It was a bugbear. And two impossibly large rats. And just like that, you are floating above the scene. And you have the sensation of flying. And then just as quickly, that image is gone and you're back in your vision. And you're thinking about your siblings.
She runs out, only to be greeted by a group of tall figures. She can only see their silhouettes in the moonlight, but the antlered helms on each of them give them this inhuman, almost eldritch look, as they just stand in a line on either side of the door as if welcoming her, like some sort of reception. And she keeps walking because all she can think of are her siblings. And the last two put their hand out in front of her. Stopping her before she can get to the barn. And they give her this smile. They put their hands on her shoulders ever so gently, as if they were family. That's what it feels like. And she would turn to the one. His face is old, tattoos covering, so that his one part of his face looks like a wolf, and the other is plain. And he just says, "Welcome, my child."
As he says that, he throws back his head and he howls. And all around you, these figures throw back their heads and howl. And you don't see the transformation happen. You just feel it as all around you, you are surrounded by a pack of wolves. And you yourself are a wolf. And you're with your pack and you're running through the woods, the trees whipping past you, and you can smell the scent of your brothers and sisters as your pack brothers and sisters as you're running through the woods. The moonlight slipping through in thin slivers coming through the trees, occasionally glistening or shining off of your fur, catching in your eye. And suddenly you leap over a log, and they're gone. You can't smell your pack brothers and your pack sisters. You can't hear them. You can't see them. You lean back your head and you howl up at the moon. You're completely taken over in the feral aspect of your wolf nature. And as you throw back your head and howl, the light of the moon flashes in your eyes, and all you can see is that bright bluish white light of the moon. And you catch a familiar scent. You catch the scent of the slight decay of vegetation, like you've smelled in the forest that you were running through, but you also smell not wolves, but a human. The musky sweat odor of a human, a dwarf, a headier scent mixed with loam and stone and a hint of ale. And you smell the scent of a more natural, lighter, airier scent of the elf. And these scents are all familiar to you as you are still throwing your head back and howling. And as your eyes open, you see your pack around you. You see Griveth, the paladin, Cantriel, the bard, Talmud, the dwarf. And you all three see, as you are making the comments about the wolves being able to sense things, Vi in her wolf form has sat back on her haunches and howled mournfully almost. But you are now in a wolf form. This wolf form does not take away your wild shape. You know, you didn't burn a wild shape to get into this form. Some other power took over you. You don't know how much time has elapsed. You can see that the others definitely show some wear of a recent fight. And you can hear with your wolf senses and smell the receding goblins not too far away. What would you do? What would you like to do?
As soon as Vi realizes that she is in the present, she can feel the cold stone beneath her paws. The air brings on this acrid smell. She would immediately turn back into Vi if she can.
Yeah, absolutely. You freely can change back.
She would, as soon as she is, and you would just see her on all fours, just kind of looking down at the ground, blinking a few times.
Talmud says, "Well, I suppose not then."
Griveth is a bit startled because suddenly she just, we're I was I was kind of stroking the scruff of her neck, as Talmud was talking about this idea, and she's like, just kind of pops into her human form, and it kind of startles me for a moment, and I'm like, I guess she's back.
Hello, Vi, darling.
What happened?
Oh,
Okay?
you had something of a wee bit of a startle, it seems, and you sort of went canine on us for a wee bit, but it's perfectly fine. You helped us out, and we managed to kill the big ugly brute and his little friends, and I think the more important question is, are you all right?
Yeah, I think I am now. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. Everything just... I was brought back to a place that I never wanted to go to. But
That's why you look like you've seen a ghost then.
When you went to that place, Vi, did you see anything that would help us now? Did you sense anything? Did you see anything?
Give me a perception check with advantage. There's still a lingering trace of your wolf form as you make this. And while you're making that roll, huge shout out to Chameleon Fam. I know you're not using that name in Twitch, but we know who you are. Just dropped 1,000 bits for 2 more domain dice for the players here.
so I got a 23 on perception.
You can sense the room you're standing in is a kind of longish hallway. It actually looks familiar to you in the sense that you've been in 2 other rooms in the Citadel like this. It's a very long hallway with dragon carved marble columns and all along on either side, except there's some tables all around here. There's various plants in various stages of growth, like science experiments around on some of these tables. There's 3 doors to the north, 3 doors to the south. You can sense the vegetation. You can sense the blight in the vegetation around you. From the northeast door, you can catch a faint odor of more vegetation, a slight hint of brimstone, and give me an insight check.
16.
You sense something else, and already as your wolf senses are fading, it's kind of like when you hear something or you smell something that is, you know what it is, but you can't quite place it. You can't quite name what it is. It has a familiarity to you, but you just can't quite put your finger on it. And to the southeast, as you're kind of wrestling with this feeling, you have a odor of stone. You have an odor of that kind of almost it's almost like a hot brimstone. And there's a closer then to the north direction, the lingering scent of something living.
So she would pause and her head would kind of perk up and she would just inhale. She would relay that information to the rest of the party.
As she, while she's on her all fours, I extend my gauntleted hand and, welcome back, friend. And I reach down so she can kind of grab my arm and pull herself back to her feet.
She definitely does, and just thank you. I didn't realize how turning into a wolf affects your human form, and she's like creaking and her knees crack as she stands up.
So you turned into an elk, and now you've turned into a wolf. Are there other things that you can turn into?
I don't know much, but I reckon I can turn into many things, yes.
Well, that's impressive.
I suppose.
Could you maybe turn into anything like a bear?
You're not going back to that, are you?
she kind of gives you this look, fear mixed with anger almost.
If you want, I can slap him upside the head for you.
No, that's not nice.
No, it's not nice, but it's warranted at this point.
Well, back to this, then.
You're the one who started poking the beast and saying bear.
Poking the bear, that's the saying.
Do you want me to slap him upside the head for you?
I don't think I'll be turning into anything soon, so don't
All
get
right.
your hopes up.
All right, now you two, let's calm down. We got to figure out what we're doing here.
Well, admit it, looks like she could use a little bit of a laugh, and it's so tempting.
Let her recover her senses. She needs a moment.
I'm all right. Let's go and do what we need to do, which is, and she kind of like looks at you guys. What have we done?
Well, we killed the helmeted man thing, whatever that ended up being, and now we're off to find the evil druid.
It was the thing that triggered your transformation. Do you remember?
All I remember is that helm he was wearing looked very similar to someone I knew from my past. I suppose that's it.
Do you think if you run into that again, that this could happen again?
Your body has a very interesting way of dealing with things, so I suppose your guess is as good as mine.
Well, I think that it's probably safe to say that none of us should ever buy or wear a horned helmet. And he kind of looks at Griveth and touches his head, because and then he kind of thumbs towards the melted like pile of brain and metal that Vi created with her sunbeam or whatever that was.
So I show Vi the helmet, it's because Cantriel like superheated it, and it was kind of melting, and it's all, it's just gores in it. And I just pick it up and I say, whatever we face, we'll face this together and we'll defeat it together. And this is what will happen to our enemies. And I just slam the helmet down.
And you really think that's going to help her calm down?
I'm just saying that we will defeat any enemies who have wronged her now or in the past. I pledge myself to this.
Vi kind of smirks and she puts a hand on Griveth and she would smile. Well, Griveth, I think you'll be a great leader one day once you get that whole floating rage thing under control.
Yes, I guess we all have our our issues with magic.
All right. Well, you heard what I can smell, I guess. Which way shall we go?
I'm not being the group's pincushion anymore. Someone else can take the lead for now.
Well, I know what that means.
I will.
Sounds like a job for Talmud.
Talmud kind of like steps back and looks at Vi with surprise. What?
Yeah.
You're being serious?
I haven't taken the lead yet, have I?
Well, I don't know what to do with myself. After you.
It's called following along. Do you think you can do that?
Yes, I'm sure, as long as you're not leaving Scat behind you.
I'm going to put my hand on Vi's shoulder as she walks by. It is good to have you back, though. Trying to wrangle these two is a feat on oneself. And I'm going to give her bardic inspiration while I do that.
All right, which way are you going? North or south?
Wherever Bellic was, right?
Well, south, she sensed there was something living, right?
Some sort of life, and you could smell hot brimstone.
Yeah. She would kind of say that. Should we go south?
Do we want to check these other doors before we leave? There might be something behind us that ends up following us.
You guys checked all the doors.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind.
You basically, they had been filled with goblins. That the one goblin you talked to, he took them all back
That's
home.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, it's been a while.
No, that's perfectly fine. So you want to head south.
Follow
And you
that
have some
vibe.
bardic inspiration, and it looks like you've also this guy will not stop giving you guys the boons. Chameleon Fam has just subscribed. So that's worth another domain die. You guys are flush with 20 domain dice. Don't worry, I'm gonna make you use them.
I called it. I said we had 20 dice.
I'm gonna switch my class to Warlock, and I'm gonna take Chameleon Fan as my patron.
That would be awesome.
As well at this point.
That would be awesome. All right, so you're heading to the southern passage. Now, as a reminder, and this is the first you're actually seeing it. The others had seen it, but for you, Vi, as you step into the room to the southeast, at first, it looks familiar. It looks like a room that you've seen in the upper levels at least twice before. Smooth gray stone walls and ceiling, clean of all debris, almost too clean. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you can just hear this faint remembrance of a splorch sound. And maybe involuntarily or not, you might glance towards the ceiling, but the ceilings are low in here, and there is no gelatinous or otherwise shadows above you. But on the southern wall, there is a 5-foot wide and about 8-foot high break in the wall, and a rough tunnel that seems to carve through the stone, through at an angle heading southwest. And it's through here now you can smell that sort of hot smell. Do you continue down the passage, or what do you do?
Yes, continue.
Yes.
We're all close behind.
It's kind of like Scooby-Doo-esque, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Yes. You do.
All right, what is the marching order? We got Vi in the lead.
Back.
Cantriel in the back.
I'll be next.
Griveth second. So that leaves Talmud third. All right. What you see here is, as you're walking along this stone, I would like you to make I would like everybody to make perception checks, and Talmud, you can do so with advantage because stone cunning.
Got a big old 10.
14.
10 for me.
That's an 18, good buddy.
Talmud, as you guys are walking along this rift, and you can see it is in fact a rift. the walls on either side, they're at first about 5 feet apart, but you can see after about 50 feet, they start to widen out at their widest spot, about 15 feet across. But glancing back and forth the walls, you realize from the striations in the rock and the curvature, these are two halves that were once together. That at some point in time, the earth split here, and this stone created this rift. The floor is strewn with debris. There's none of the purple phosphorescent fungus growing in this rift. After about 60 feet, it's widened. It's at its widest portion, and you can see that it goes on for another 80 to 100 feet. There is about 2 feet up to your right, to the north. There's a 10-foot wide hallway leading straight north. About 20 feet further down this rift, to the left, on the south, is another 10-foot wide hallway. And Talmud, you can see that these two pieces of hallway were sundered when whatever ripped the earth apart here happened. You are in some kind of a rift. So you have a passage that goes straight up to the north. You have a passage that goes straight down to the south and seems to kind of take a jog to the east and continue southward a little more. And then in this angular rift, about another 15, 20 feet beyond the hallway on your left, you see that there's an opening in the stone, a rough carved opening leading into some unseen chamber. What would you like to do?
Was it Talmud who saw all of that information? Right?
Oh no, all of you
We all picked up on it.
could see that. Talmud was the only one that picked up on the fact that this was a rift, that the stone had basically split at some point.
Okay.
Do you think that happened when the citadel fell into this crevasse?
It's very possible.
Or is
It looks
something
like
that's
these.
happened recently.
No, I don't think so. These two hallways look like they once connected. But the thing that's more important is that carving, that area there was carved out. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like it was probably done sometime after this rift happened.
So someone took advantage of there being a division here and burrowed further down into the earth?
I'm not sure why, but it may be worth looking into.
Vi, you can smell this sort of singed earth smell. And the rest of you can just sort of kind of pick up on a general faint odor. This is the smell you were smelling earlier, Vi. The rest of you are starting to kind of get a hint of this kind of something just smells burnt. And Talmud, and I think Griveth, you probably would notice as well. What at first in this area, right around where the hallway is split, at first looked like pieces of debris or shadows in the cavern floor, you realize are in fact holes, each one about 2 foot in diameter, at random intervals.
These look like they were carved in place, or like the floor was like punctured or something.
You'd have to take a closer look at one.
I'll do so.
All right, give me an investigation, and I'll let you do so at advantage.
Excellent. Okay, you said investigation.
Yep. I know technically that's a history thing, but
No, that's fine. It works for you. It works for me. Okay, that's going to be a 15 total.
It has a look about it almost like it does. Some of the holes look like they were like something was shoved down, like the edges of the hole kind of are concave a little bit, and the interior of the hole and the edges have a sort of glassy sheen to it, like something very hot passed by it. And then a couple of the holes actually have where it looks like it's buckled upward. The earth is kind of cracked around it. There's bits of debris, and it has that same glassy sheen around it.
Do these holes happen to be like in kind of a line with each other?
No, they're at kind of random intervals.
Okay, not what I was thinking then.
Griveth kind of goes to a calm place for a moment, and he reaches and holds the delicate symbol of Eldath, which is kind of like this silvery waterfall, right? And he's clutching the symbol, and he's kind of putting his divine sense out to try to see if there's anything that's desecrated here, or is anything evil.
How far does is that the one that goes 60 feet?
Yeah.
Let's see. You don't sense anything at first that's there's not like any obvious evil or desecration pings in your senses. What you are catching is kind of at the edges, both to the southwest of you in the direction of where this carved tunnel offshoot is that Talmud pointed at, and to the southeast, following along the southern portion of the split hallway. You, just at the edges of your senses, you catch a faint evil taint. Like, it's not like a strong sense of a source of evil, more like you're sensing something that has been touched by evil.
So friends, something lurks beyond. I don't know what it is, but something is disturbing my mind, like a pinprick in my mind. I know that's vague. I'm sorry, my friends, but something that way.
Are we talking about something wicked this way comes, or something wicked this way comes?
Well, we're moving toward it. So I guess we come to the wicked.
Well, I mean, we were told that it was some kind of tainted grove that Belloc was experimenting with.
Exactly, my friend. I think that's what I'm feeling. I can't be sure. I'm sorry. I'm new to these feelings. I'm new to these ways, but I'm feeling that we're getting closer.
Well, considering what we saw back there with that poor rat and the experimentation, I'm not surprised to hear that something unnatural is ahead of us.
Yes, that makes total sense, Cantriel.
Talmud, give me a perception check. Actually, what's your passive perception?
12.
Let's see. Okay. Continue. Sorry. Don't mind the DM.
Never mind the ominous.
Don't mind the random die rolling and questioning of passive perceptions. There's nothing going on here.
Oh, there's no man behind the curtain.
On the screen.
No.
So Griveth, in that case, where is your mind hurting the most.
Talmud, make a dexterity saving throw.
Hold on just 1 second, Griveth. We'll finish this conversation in a minute.
But we're role playing.
Dexterity saving throw is a 12.
As you're turning to talk to Griveth, you feel a sudden rush of heat from below you, where you're standing in front of this hole. And the heat pushes up, and the rest of you actually see Talmud's hair and beard sort of kind of go. And you actually see Talmud's beard, the edges of it. If you've ever seen hair singed, it's got embers. It's like when the little Norbert, the dragon baby, breathes on Hagrid's beard, and there's little embers in there. And suddenly, there is a glowing form of a fire snake right in your face, Talmud. And as you involuntarily leap back, it snaps its jaws in front of you. As it emerges out of this pit, it swings its tail around. And who was next to Talmud the closest? Nobody's going to admit.
I would, since we were chatting.
Like everybody's shaking their head. Nope, I was nowhere near him. We were
What?
talking on the
Talmud?
phone.
What? I don't know any Talmud. Yeah, I would assume I would, since we were chit chatting.
Talmud who?
Griveth.
Talmud who?
Griveth, does a dirty 20 hit you?
It does. I'm gonna have you re-roll it.
Of course. There's one down. We'll try that again. This time it is a natural 8. So suddenly this hot snake tail. God, that sounds terrible. This fire snake's tail suddenly slams into the ground next to you. You feel the wave of heat as it just misses you. And I would like you all to roll for initiative.
$15.
So Cantriel has a 15.
Yes.
Griveth. If you spoke, you were muted.
Sorry, 20.
I always look for Scotty's moving lips because
I am so sorry.
Scotty's just like Mike in our Monday night game, always forgetting to unmute. Talmud.
Talmud got an 8.
And Vi.
9.
Okay. Griveth, you are up first. Wait.
Friends, what is this thing? I've never seen anything like it.
What did you have, Megan?
A 9.
Okay, sorry. I wrote my numbers down wrong. I was already going to skip you in initiative, and I didn't want that. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Griveth.
I've never seen anything like this. Do you know what it is? How do we fight it?
I don't know. How do you fight fire?
Water.
With fire?
Fire with fire.
More idioms.
I'm sorry.
Does it look like did it come out of the pit?
It came out of one of those 2-foot diameter holes that Talmud had just been inspecting.
Okay. There's no kind of broken pillar or statue or rock or anything we could shove over on it and slam it back into the pit?
There are no broken pillars. Most of the debris that's in here is smallish. And this hole is just one of probably a dozen that are from here through towards the backside of this rift.
All right, friends, should we flee from this danger or should we fight it?
I don't personally have very much to fight fire. He kind of realizes his beard isn't attractive.
Well, something tells me it knows we're here.
Oh, it's right in front of you.
She's pointing.
Do you think we can outrun it?
Why don't you try? See what happens.
Well,
I'm not running away without you guys.
based on everybody's positioning, if
Yeah.
you picture this a moment,
Uh-huh.
you have Vi,
Yeah.
Griveth, Fire Snake, Talmud, Cantriel. With
Okay.
Talmud and Cantriel being towards the exit. You do have the hallways. There's basically like a 2-foot step up into the hallways to the north and to the south. Or you have the giant snake. It's close enough to you, having attacked you, that you would provoke an opportunity attack if you try to move away from it without disengaging.
So what say you, friends? Do we fight or do we flee?
I say we fight it.
Fight? Fight? Okay. All right, I'm fighting it.
All right.
Oh, okay, so I hunker down behind my shield, which is still giving off light, by the way. I hunker down behind my shield, and I am going to use that to protect myself while I cast a spell on my friends. And I am casting Bless. I'm calling on Eldath to bless my friends, twist the strands of fate, and give them the luck they need in their time of direst need. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not attacking. I'm just casting a spell.
So you're casting Bless on everybody.
Yes, so everybody gets it.
So everybody gets 1d4 to add
all
to
their rolls, to
all their rolls
saving
for the
throws
next
and all their attack rolls. Yeah,
for the next minute, correct?
yeah, for the next minute.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
All right. As you do this, the fire snake rears up for an attack. It is going to attempt to bite Talmud again. This time I'm going to use a fire snake die. That is going to be a 15 to hit. As it suddenly slams its jaws into your shoulder, Talmud, you take 5 points of piercing damage, and as it bites into you, you can feel the heat coming off of it and almost cauterizing your wounds instantly as you take another 4 points of fire damage from this. Its tail right next to you, Griveth, whips into a frenzy and attempts to strike you. That is a 16 to hit. There's a clang and shower of sparks as the fire snake's tail wham up against your shield. Sparks flying everywhere. Cantriel, this rift is aglow with the dancing lights of this fire snake. Not the dancing light spell, but it's basically as if there's a moving campfire around in this space.
Okay, then I'm fighting a cat. I'm going to cast Sleep upon this fiery little bugger.
All right.
Okay, so that is It is I gotta roll 5d8s, and however many that is. It then goes to the total hit points of the creature the spell can affect. And I've just chosen the fire snake. So that's picked. And let's see here. Falls unconscious until the spell ends, or the sleeper takes damage, or someone uses an action to shake or slap the sleeper awake.
No slapping
for a minute.
no slapping the snake
Slap the
jokes.
snake! Sorry.
V, you and I both made the joke at the same time.
I'm the bard. I'm allowed to.
Oh. All right, so
All right.
roll that
Okay.
so sleep dice.
12 plus 8, so we're up to 20. One more, 25.
I'm just playing with you guys.
What does it look like, Cantriel, as you cast this spell? How do you enact the sleep spell?
Because we're looking at a snake, I'm actually going to pull out my flute, and I'm going to start playing my flute, and I'm going to start swaying as I look it in the eyes. And as it's playing, there's this almost black-like purple mist that starts flowing out from the flute, and it goes into the nostrils of the snake, and the snake kerplunk.
As you're playing this, the snake kind of whips its head around at you, Cantriel, and it just starts. And as you're playing it, you watch as this giant, well, it's not giant. For a snake, it's giant. It's stretched out. It's probably about 7 or 8 feet long. It begins to curl and coil in on itself. And as you play the last few notes of your tune, it settles its head down into its coils, and it just begins to glow warmly with a rhythmic pulsing, as you have just put my fire snake to sleep. Phrasing.
What's one way to charm a snake?
One of your many talents, Cantriel. But as she was putting it to sleep, we're still like in the fighting mode, and so like, and after Griveth gets the spell off, he's ready to go, and he's got his morning star, and he's like, and he's like lunging forward, and then sees, that the snake is just kind of, going down to sleep, and just barely stops himself before he smashes into it. So I'm like, friends, should we all attack it at once?
If you slap that snake after I put it to sleep, I'm going to slap you.
No, we
Could
can all
just
attack it
leave.
at once and kill it. Hopefully kill it before it may awaken and come back after us.
Well, if you can guarantee cutting off its head after I swing.
So could we all get a coup de grace at once?
Mr. J.
We all slap the snake at once.
Oh, this is not good.
Okay.
Party slap.
There's so many things. My brain's about to explode. I'm like Chandler when he promised not to make any jokes and make fun of people. Okay.
Oh.
If you wish, and you all kind of encircle it and decide that you're going to strike it at once, which Vi seems to be struggling with this, I will allow you to do so. But it's going to take everybody acting at once.
Right.
The only way this is going to work, and we're not going to get attacked again, is if we all do the same thing at this, well, not the same thing, but we all act at the same time. Otherwise, it's going to wake up and start attacking us again. So either we all do this or we all walk away.
Vi, I know this is not the noble thing to do, but we're on a noble mission.
You don't even like animals, and this one isn't even a real one. It's made out of fire.
Just the thought of circling in something that's sleeping. But no, you're right. Let's do it.
So we're all in agreement?
Right? Talmud ready's Girta.
I'm going to pull my rapier out.
On the count of 3. 2, 3.
And everybody strikes at once. Does everybody strike it at once?
Yes,
You
right?
can't tell, but I'm looking right at you, Megan. I'm just I'm making sure Vi actually followed through on it. All of you strike down. Griveth with his Morning Star Cantriel with her rapier, Talmud with Gerta the warmaul, Vi with her mended quarterstaff. And there's this moment as you all strike into this thing where it almost looks, particularly Talmud, you notice as Gerta hits it, it looks almost like hot iron pulled from the forge as Gerta strikes it. Scales flake off of it as if hot iron is being formed on an anvil. And at the moment that it's struck, it lifts its head. And I'm not going to pick on Megan, but I'm going to roll. Griveth. Its head, its eyes flick open for a moment. Its snake tongue flicks out in front of your face to taste the air right in front of your face. And then you see the light dim over its entire body as it falls dead at your feet.
Is that what you did?
Well, that's another way to take care of a fire snake.
Forgive us, poor creature.
Poor creature? The thing leapt out of a hole and tried to burn me alive.
You know, Talmud.
What about poor Talmud?
Well, you know, Talmud, this could be the profit of this adventure. You know, I know wizards pay handsomely for scales of this beast. I bet.
I mean, we could all encircle you while you're sleeping and hit you all at once if you'd like.
You already were hitting me.
Well, he does have a point.
Cantriel threatens to hit me all the time.
Yes, but you have this bad habit of opening your mouth and words come out.
So, sorry, Talmud, you look a little funny with your beard singed.
Yes, thank you very much. Hopefully that will grow back by tomorrow.
So you've slain the fire snake. What would you like to do?
Am I here?
Can we take the scales off or anything like that?
You can try. How would you go about doing that?
That could be your profit, my friends.
Probably take my dagger and pry them off.
Okay. Give me a nature check.
18.
It takes you a little bit at first to kind of figure out exactly how to get at these, and some of them almost seem fused together. And they're quite hot to the touch. If you would like to work for about 10 minutes, you can harvest 10 fire snake scales. But you will take 3 points of fire damage through the process, just from burning your fingers as you're attempting to get these scales. But each one of the scales is about the size of a gold piece and has depending on how you hold it, it kind of shimmers it has an iridescent sheen between yellows and oranges. And though you have no idea, it does look like they would have some kind of value.
I see her as she's about to do this, and I kind of come up behind her and I reach over her and I grab her hand before she starts to do this. And I say, hold on a sec. Don't burn yourself. And I take my water skin and kind of pour it on the scales. And they kind of hiss and pop. And I assume that cools them down.
It does cool them down. As your water strikes the scales, everywhere the water beads up and cools the scales down, they lose their iridescent sheen and they take on a almost blue green like a scarred metal look to them. You're not sure if that would affect the value, but it would allow you to harvest the same number of scales, taking no damage.
Also, when I'm down there, kind of leaning next to her, I whisper in her elf ear, and I say, ever so softly, I say, "Did you do that to when you played your beautiful music for me and up in your room? Did you weave that sorcery on me? Did you put me in that restful sleep with that sorcery of yours?"
Well, some would say that music soothes the savage beast, or that what ails you. Take from that what you will. Sometimes there's a little bit of magic to it. Other times it's just, I know the right song for the right person.
Either way, I thank you. And then he stands back up and lets her get on with her work.
So, Cantriel, you decide if you would take the cooled scales, or would you take the ones that are still hot?
How about half and half?
Very well. So I'll say that you only managed to take 1 point of fire damage, as you just can't resist grabbing 5 of these shiny ones.
I'm a bard. I like pretty things.
So mark down that you have the 10 scales and that half of them are we'll call them cooled. All right. What would you like to do now?
Well, I think maybe if we're going to head further down the hallway, we should avoid these holes at all costs.
That might be wise, unless you want to keep having to put something to sleep every so often, and I mean in both sense of the word.
Sounds like wise advice, my friend.
Well, Vi,
I agree.
you
Let's continue.
are you still leading the way?
Of course.
Somehow, even though I wasn't leading the way, I still managed to find the danger first. So on we go.
Are you continuing down the rift? Is that where you were going? I didn't know if you said which direction you were going. You basically have the hallway to the north, the hallway to the south, the way you came, or a little ways down beyond where you are, you can see that opening in the wall that was, as you indicated, had been created after the rift.
How about where I was detecting that evil?
That's one of the directions. Both were to the south. One was to the southwest. One was to the southeast. Yeah. So towards the, I'm trying not to lead you. I want you to make the decision.
I mean, like, to me, if we smelled
The vegetation?
badness and vegetation and stuff coming from
That to
that
me is
newly carved tunnel, then maybe
orchard.
Yeah.
To be fair, at no point did anybody smell vegetation in this direction.
Oh.
The only scent in this direction was the scent of hot brimstone.
However, still for me, if evil smells that direction and it's a newly carved passage, to me, it's worth checking out.
All right. So you continue down just a little ways, actually, about 30 feet. You find a 10-foot opening that does indeed appear as though it had been carved later. Some portions of this, through this tunnel and into this small cavern, very small cavern, it looks, portions of it look like they were torn sundered in the same way, but it looked like it may have been a partially natural pocket that was ripped, and then an opening was carved into it. You see a handful of these 2-foot diameter holes in here, and you can see that that inside here, you can definitely smell that that sort of burnt earth smell, the strongest in here. There's an area of the ground that has a very glassy texture to it. And it looks as if this may have been the fire snake's nest. And in the center of this nest are 2 large sapphires. They're literally just lying loose on this glassy ground.
Are they egg-shaped?
I was going to say, what shape are those sapphires?
That's a fair question. They actually do look like like cut stone. They don't look like rough or are natural. They're definitely not egg-shaped. They appear to be about the size. Each one is about the size of a child's fist, and is cut. Talmud, I'd say with your trained eye, you can gauge these to be probably around 50 gold pieces each in value.
He's going to point to them and say, Griveth, that's where the money is. That's the profit right there.
Wow, you've hit the jackpot. You've hit the jackpot, Talman. It's like I'm not he's not a money chaser, but it's like he has to admire the beauty of, the light glinting off of these, fabulous, huge, fabulous stones. It's just like, it's probably more money than he's ever seen in his life in one spot.
The glassy part of the floor, does it look like it's safe to walk on?
Yeah, it just looks like when sand has been treated to extreme heat, being that it was a fire snake and it seemed to rest here a lot, it probably just turned the surface dirt into a glassy smoothness.
But it doesn't look like there's like jagged corners of it sticking up or anything like that.
No, it's actually quite smooth.
Okay. Talmud will start moving forward towards the sapphires and the obvious danger.
As you do so, you are free to pick up the gems if you'd like.
You bastard. Yes, he absolutely.
I like keeping you guys on your toes. Okay, I'm going to give you guys another domain die, as an anonymous gifter has just gifted Kenosis 007 a tier 1 subscription. And yeah, that's how we do it. Subscriptions count. You're back up to 20 domain dies. 20 domain dies, guys.
All right.
Talmud, you've got yourself a mighty pair of sapphires there, worth 50 gold pieces each. That's what I should have called this session, of fire snake and sapphires. Or what was it? I used the phrase hot brimstone earlier, and Mad King Henry said hot brimstone sounds like a saucy novel.
Well, I mean, when you're dealing with a large snake and, 2 large sapphire globe-like objects.
When you're slapping your snake.
Or I'll just call this episode Double Entendres.
I'm going to say mighty pair of sapphires is actually what they called me in college.
All right. So, what would you like to do now? From here, you can tell that there's no exits out of this small chamber. The rift ends 5-10 feet beyond where you went in here. It narrows too small to get through. So you can either go back the way you came, or you can investigate to the north or the south of the hallway.
Well, this way is a dead end. We were headed south before. Maybe we should continue south.
Well, I don't see why not if we've gotten everything we could possibly out of this area.
Griveth, you said there was a second passage that smelled foul to you, didn't you?
Yes. Well, not foul, but I like a
But you
pinprick in my mind.
Yes, sorry. Not in your nose, in your brain.
Yeah. It's a sense. I can't quite explain it.
So maybe we should look there next, perhaps?
Perhaps we should.
Sounds like a good idea.
That would be that southern passage where you sensed that.
I'll lead the way unless unless Vi so wants to. Okay.
All right. You backtrack through the rift a little ways, and you find yourself at where the sundered hallway is heading south. You have to step up about a 2-foot step to get to the hallway proper. And here, once again, it's dwarven carved walls and floor. The hall continues for about 20 feet. It's 10 feet wide. Continues for about 20 feet and then takes a hard turn to the east and immediately heads south again for another 30 feet. And then immediately cuts to the east again and ends at a door. This is a stone carved door with the relief carving of a dragon on it.
Very interesting hallways. What was the purpose of this construction?
It's possible that maybe there was a mine somewhere nearby, or they were trying to avoid precious metals in the stone. I'm not sure. It does seem to wander around an awful lot.
Cantriel, can you tell us anything about this door, about this carving?
With a closer look, maybe? Possibly? If I roll Arcana?
You're taking a look at the dragon door?
Yes, please.
And you're looking at it for magical properties?
Or, dragon-like, draconic things.
If you want to use Arcana, investigation, however you want to do that, you may.
Well, that's going to be a whopping 11.
It is a stone door with a relief carving of a dragon on it. Jeremy was frivolously pointing at the furiously.
You want me to re-roll? Re-roll. Yeah, why not? We'll see what happens. Domain diet.
All right.
Well, now it's a 14.
It is a stone door with a relief carving of a dragon. It does not appear to have any magical properties to it.
Well, from what I can tell, it's a stone door with a dragon on it. That's about it.
I think Talmud is going to start wandering back down the hallway a little. And he's going to start examining some of these strange turns and things. I would like to try to search for any kind of secret or hidden doors.
All right, give me investigation. And as long as you're doing these kind of checks, anything that's using your intelligence, then
stonework.
Then I'll allow you to apply your stonework,
okay,
or stone cunning bonus.
Most generous of you, sir. Oh dear. Okay. This one was an investigation again.
Yep.
Would he have any clue from his ancestor?
I'm gonna spend a domain die. Oh my god! I quit. I can't play D&D anymore. So that is a total of 4. That was with 4d20. That was the best result that I could get.
All right. As you are looking along and feeling along these walls with their mostly plain, every once in a while there's some very basic dwarven carvings and relief carvings. And as you're kind of feeling along and looking at one, I'd like you to make a dexterity saving throw.
That is a 12.
You suddenly see, as you're moving across, you see a shifting in the pattern, and it looks as if it's coming, like just lurching straight out at you, and you kind of lurch back and backpedal, and you find yourself, as you'd kind of been working along, not really paying attention where you were, you just suddenly bang into Griveth. Nothing comes out of the wall. It was just the way you were looking at it. The shadow shifted, and for a second, it's like that out of the corner of your eye. Out of the corner of your eye, you see something, and it makes you flinch. That's what happened.
Steady, friend, steady.
There was well, he kind of straightens himself up. There was something spiderweb, and he kind of like wipes at his face.
All right. Anybody else checking out the door or doing anything else with the door? Trying to open it, checking for
Does
traps?
it have any obvious like latch or handle or?
And there's no runes or anything around it?
Nope, no runes. The dragon carving has a, the dragon carved door actually has a sort of a relief handle in it. It looks like you could reach in and grab it and pull open.
Perhaps we should check this. Oh, she already did.
Well, I didn't check it for dangerous things. It was more for magical things.
Perhaps we should check it for dangerous things.
Might help.
So if anybody else would like to check, anybody other than Talmud or Griveth would like to check the door, or excuse me, Talmud or Cantriel, you may do so.
Perception or investigation?
Your choice.
I'm doing perception. Nah. 11.
And what were you checking for specifically?
I was checking the door, the hand, where the depression in the door where the handle is, to see if anything seemed dangerous if we grab that, if something.
As far as you can tell, this door looks pretty mundane.
Seems safe to me.
That means you're going to turn the handle, right?
Yes, are we ready?
Aren't we always?
Oh my God, Talmud has disappeared. Where'd he go? Did he fall in the pit? I wasn't
No,
looking.
we just went to look further down the hall.
Oh, okay. Whew, okay. I didn't see him there. All right. Are we ready? All right. So turn the handle, click the door.
It's just a relief into the door that you reach into and can pull it open.
Okay, so reaching in, pulling that out.
There's a sound of stone against stone, and there's a brief hiss of air as stale air hits you, and it seems as if this room has not been opened in a very long time. As the door opens, you see inside to a room that is 30 foot square. Faded mosaic tiles still decorate parts of the wall, but whatever pattern was there, you can no longer tell, as most of the mosaic tile has crumbled and lies in shattered ruins on the floor. In the center of the chamber is a very slim pedestal made of an old pitted rusted iron, shaped to look like an upright dragon. In the mouth of the dragon is a dusty and old-looking heavy cloth. It appears to be covering something that is in the mouth of the dragon, just kind of laying across the open mouth. What would you like to do?
Poke it with a
Talmud,
stick.
Talmud, to catch you up real quick, they opened the door and a fireball went off and everybody but you died. No, there's...
I knew it!
It's an old room, 30-foot square, rusty iron column that looks like a dragon standing upright in the middle of the room with something wrapped in cloth in its jaws.
How high is this object off the floor?
We'll say that the dragon carving or statue thing is 6 feet tall. The way its neck curves down, it's at about 5 feet. Its open mouth.
And that's it in here? There's nothing else in here?
That's it.
Other doors or anything?
Nope.
Talmud kind of looks around the room. Well, is this some kind of offering or a...
Somebody poke it.
Vi would take her quarterstaff and just kind of nudge it.
So before we go any further with that, I'm going to roll.
No.
V. I would like you to roll a D100. This is not one of my patented sliding scale percentile rolls. I just need you to roll a D100.
108.
You rolled a what?
100. Do you want like just the D100 or do you want it to be like a percentage?
Yeah, D100. It's both of them.
Both of them. So
Yeah.
then.
So between 1 and 100. It's the same as a percentile. You're just not rolling
Oh,
it.
yeah. So then it's, sorry, I'm reading it
percentile.
wrong. It's an 8. Between the two of them, it's an 8.
Okay.
What is she doing?
All right. So Vi, you're poking it with your staff.
Yep.
As you poke at the cloth with your staff, there's a muffled, as the wood connects with it, it connects with something heavy. It shifts slightly, and there's a muffled sound of wood against glass.
So you hear like this kind of ting. Well, that doesn't... It's an odd sound.
Almost like a wine bottle.
What is that?
Talmud will walk over and kind of reach up above his head and kind of grab a hold of the corner of this cloth and kind of pull it back, if you can.
Are you pulling, like you're pulling a tablecloth for a magic trick, or just lifting it gently?
Yeah, just kind of like pulling back one corner of the cloth, just to get a look in.
As you start to pull on it, you realize that the cloth is wrapped around whatever it is. If you continue to pull on it, whatever it is will kind of tumble out.
You need help there.
Are you going to come and kneel down so I can step on your back?
No, but I can reach over your head and grab it.
Well, then please, by all means. And Telma's going to take a big step back.
Can I like check it quickly for any trap-like objects?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Perhaps one of us should stand near and catch. I will volunteer.
It's like I have you guys paranoid or something about traps.
Gee, I wonder why.
Don't know why that is.
That's what can be investigation, or what do you want for that?
Yeah, investigation.
23.
23. You do not see anything to indicate any kind of trap. Looking carefully around this thing, this slender column statue appears to be sculpted into a solid single piece of iron. There's no moving parts. It's just old rusted iron.
And I'm going to very gingerly remove it.
There is, as you pick it up, you get a slight sloshing sound of liquid inside a bottle. It's a good sized bottle, about the size of a wine bottle, a little bit smaller actually than a wine bottle. And it's got the heft of a full bottle, and it feels like you can feel the liquid shifting around.
Can I unwrap it from the fabric?
Yep. You unwrap it, and as the dark cloth falls away, you see a brightly shimmering red liquid with motes of silver that seem to expand and fade. You've seen potions like this before on a smaller scale, and it very much, you can tell that it is a larger, more potent version of a healing potion. It appears to have been left for who knows how long as some sort of ancient offering. Mechanically, it is a greater healing potion. And if you just want to make a note, that's 4d4 plus 4 is the healing of a greater healing potion. See, not all my percentile rolls are bad.
Thank God.
There's nothing,
You writing that down, V?
absolutely nothing else of note in this room. So what would you like to do?
Well, if no one objects, I'll put this into my little pouch and carry it for us should we need it.
And I'll even say, Griveth, it's not a pinpoint thing, but you do get the sense that that sort of trace, lingering sense of evil that you sensed was coming from this statue. But given that this room has not been open in a long time, and you guys have known from what Cantriel has told you earlier when you first entered and had seen some of the draconic runes and things, that this place was once inhabited by a dragon cult that worshipped Chardalon. So it's probable that that's the evil, lingering evil that you were sensing.
Okay, so as Cantriel's unwrapping or picking up this bottle, she slips a little bit on the wrapping under her feet, and I kind of, it's not like she's not gonna, whoa, you know, it's not this big fall or anything, but she kind of slips back a little bit, like loses her balance a second, and Griveth kind of comes up behind her and grabs her, and then they look at each other, and there's kind of this awkward moment, and Griveth is like right beside her, and he just kind of goes and just gives her this little peck on her cheek, and then he kind of, oh, what'd I do? And he like kind of looks, then he kind of turns beet red, and he kind of just lets her, you know, move away, you know, and just tries to pretend that didn't happen, and then Then he moves up to the statue and he kind of leans against the statue, and he's touching it and just kind of leaning up against it. Is he getting any kind of other sense from this, or any kind of past history or memory or anything that he can divine from this?
The first thing you notice is that this old rusted iron statue is very cold to the touch, as an old iron plinth in the basement of a ruined citadel would be, which probably feels comforting to your slightly flushed face. That's about all you can sense from it.
Okay. So I pull back and then give Cantriel another awkward look, and then
You're not getting a healing potion from me.
Yeah, I think Talmud is exchanging a glance with Vi. At this point, did you just see?
And Vi's looking back at Talmud, and she just kind of furrows her brow. She just kind of shrugs.
and Griveth Jesus seems to be trying to just pretend it didn't happen. He's just
I'm gonna look at the two of them you saw that, right?
And I'm gonna say that Cantriel's slipping and Griveth kind of catching her was all in Griveth's head. She didn't actually slip to anybody else's eyes. You just she moved, and to your eyes it looked like, oh, she might be falling, and you kind of did what you did.
It is a smutty romance novel.
Hot brimstone.
so that was kind of my excuse to do it, right? That I had told myself.
The mind sees what the heart wants it to see. Hot brimstone.
The Forge of Fury.
That's going to be the thing now. Whenever Griveth has eyes at Cantriel, somebody has to whisper, "Hot brimstone."
Brimstone. Can you do it in your metadata voice when you whisper?
Yes, in the metadata channel ID. Hot brimstone.
Yes, you must do it in that voice. Yes.
There's gonna be art of this somewhere, isn't there?
God. I'm gonna be excused again. Excuse me.
All right. So what would you guys like to do now?
Cantriel's gonna kind of arch her brow and look at Griveth and almost step so she's not walking right past him because she's not quite sure what's going on. Should we perhaps bid that way go? Leave? Yes? Should we?
Yes, I sense nothing from this statue.
Cold rebuttal on both points.
Definitely a cold shoulder. All right. So all you have remaining to you is the passage to the north, or returning the way you came back to the lab. What was that, Megan?
To the north.
Oh.
Now, am I remembering correct? In the goblins
She
told us
said-
that both paths would eventually get us there.
The goblin started to tell you that the south would lead you there, but what he actually said was that we, the goblins, can smell the Gulthias tree through the stone.
Oh, okay. I may have completely misconstrued that then. My bad.
Was in no way intended to be misconstrued by the DM.
I think we all did, my friend.
I mean, come on,
Yep.
it's been 3 weeks since you guys played.
Double speak? What? No.
I
Have
no memory of this
I
place.
ever done anything to make you think anything was going to happen other than what happened?
No.
Ever?
Never.
Hmm.
All right.
Yes.
So
the
you've got
north.
that the other part of the sundered hallway to the north, and you got the path you came back.
So north?
By saying go to the north.
Yep, north.
All right. This is a straight shot about 50 feet, and you see a wooden door with iron banding. Pretty much like most of the doors that you've seen here in the...
Can I check it out?
Yep.
Perception. Oh, dang it. 10.
It looks like a wooden door with iron banding.
I present to you a wooden door.
It doesn't have a lock on it. It just has a iron pull ring.
So we pull the door open?
Is
I
that
will pull the door open.
okay? The door opens, and you get a change in the air pressure as slightly more, it's still cool, but slightly more humid air, the scent of loam and fungus, the purple glow as you have just emerged into the southeast corner of the giant square room that you fought Bernal and Grip and Fang in. In fact, his corpse is still there, lying across the room. Along the wall to the north, on the right side, is the open door that leads into the laboratory. Yes, you basically went in a circle. Well, you could call it a square, if that makes you feel better.
Well,
So
it appears
either
we've been chasing our tails.
Either we missed something or the goblins have sent us.
Well, you do remember that you chose to go through, or Vi chose to go through the southeastern passage, that there was also a passage to the northeast from the lab.
I apologize. I suppose I chose wrong.
Well, goblins are very tricky. It's they're not always very straightforward with the information that they give, if they give you information at all.
And it's not like we came out completely empty-handed.
Yes, this
Aye.
place is like a labyrinth. It's not easy to navigate.
The dwarves do that on purpose. So maybe back to the disgusting room with the swollen, warty rat.
Well, when you put it that way.
So, are you guys going back to the lab, kind of where you started? Don't worry, I'm not going to say, and that's where we're going to end. We're not going to end right where you started. So, you do find yourself back in that room, and it's not been that long since you were here. Maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. There is, to the northeast, the open door to the what was a small armory that had a few weapons in bad shape, scimitars and spears and things like that. But there was another door in the corner of that room on the northeast corner. This door is also like excuse me, is also like the others, wooden, banded, iron pull ring. You can either open it or check it for traps, whatever you'd like to do.
Check for traps.
All right.
15.
You find no traps on this door. It looks safe to open.
We pull it open.
You open the door to find a small 10-foot by 10-foot room with another door on the other side. It basically looks like just like an antechamber. You do notice that there are like muddy track prints on the floor of goblin footprints, looking like as people have passed through from whatever's on the other side of this door, they've tracked in a bit of mud and little bits of plant. And it's another wooden door with iron banding, iron ring.
All right, forward, checking the door. 15.
It does not appear to be trapped.
All right, friends, let's enter.
So you open the door. As you open the door, you find yourself at the top of a room that you're looking across about 20 feet. To your right, to the south, the room extends about 80 feet with two small alcoves about 20 feet to the south of you going to the west and the east. This room is basically like a Griveth in particular, I think you would recognize this shape. It's very similar to some deities' temples. It has a sort of cross shape to it. There is a door immediately to your left in the center of the north wall, far to the south in the center of that wall, and you can see across the way on the eastern alcove is another door. These, all around here, you see nodules of luminescent fungus hanging from the ceiling and walls and growing in clumps on the flagstone floor. The light from the fungus illuminates portions of just incredible bas-relief carvings on the stone walls where they're not covered with fungus. All around this room, the carvings depict dragons in various stages of raining fire down upon terrified people. Half the chamber's floor, mostly up against the walls and around portions of the floor except the central areas, soil and compost cover the floor. And you find bits of a variety of very weak attempts at plants to grow. This, whatever this grand cathedral or chamber once was, it has become much like the square room where you fought Bernal. It's being turned into a sort of underground garden. To the south, on one of the walls, is a bench that contains some simple gardening implements. Do you step into the room, Griveth, and allow the others to come in and see?
Sure do if they wish to, yes.
As you all step into the room, I would like you to make perception checks.
21.
16 for me.
That's
15.
6. No, that's a 6 for me.
So everybody but Talmud sees that coming out from the alcove to the west, so directly below you and kind of from the same direction you'd come from, and was out of view as you looked in the room, Griveth. You're all standing there, your footsteps muffled by the mossy ground covering, as you see a bugbear come walking around. She has a large sickle slung over her shoulder. She wears gloves and an apron. And she walks into the room. Whoa. I would like you guys, just for fun, to roll stealth checks. Unless you're making no attempt to be quiet.
So on this, for whatever reason, I got a 21.
I'm jingling in my armor. I'm not quiet.
I got a 10, so
19.
So you guys are kind of split. Wow. Wow. That's incredible. The bugbear steps out from the alcove. She stops. And she looks across the way. She looks down to the south. And she starts to turn towards you. And as her body turns towards you, she turns her head in the other way. And you hear... as she cracks her back. Holds the sickle across her shoulders. And turns her back towards you as she walks towards the bench. She has not seen you. What would you like to do?
oh, I have no idea.
As the group's kind of looking at each other and like we're trying to decide what to do, Griveth goes. Griveth goes. We have come to this place. What are you doing here?
Next time, just say hello.
I'm sorry. You totally got me, Scotty, with that. Griffith goes, and you just started giggling.
That laugh.
Because you knew you were playing your character, but you knew what you were going to do. Oh, I'm going to give you a point of inspiration just for that, Scotty. That was great. And as you say this, the bugbear turns around to face you. She pulls the sickle down off of her shoulder. She screams, and begins charging towards you with the sickle raised. And as she charges towards you, the door to the east and the door immediately behind you opens. And that is where we are going to end.
Of course you leave us here. Of course.
You had to know it was coming.
Right?
Oh, man. It was just so good to be playing this game again.
And we get to do it again next week.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
So, so first off, just a huge thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you to those that normally watch with us over on YouTube and eventually found their way over here. I've tried to leave posts and post on social media about it, but These games are now exclusively streamed on Twitch, and then 2 days later will be posted. The videos will be posted to YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll still be able to catch these videos, just not live. But thank you to those of you that did come over to Twitch from YouTube. It was so good seeing so many familiar faces here. And, you know, huge thank you to Scraticus for popping in with the raid and hanging around for a while. I see Bill Wylock tuned in early. It looks like he just commented, said rockin', so he must have been hanging with us the whole time. Mike the Piper, V, and Megan and I's DM on our All That Glitters campaign on Monday nights here on the channel. Chameleon Fam, Kenosis. There's so many people. I don't want to forget somebody. I see Mappernomicon. Just so many of you. Thank you to each one of you. It means so much that you're taking a couple hours out of your Thursday and spending it with us. We love playing this game. I have a blast every week with this group. And we would have just as much fun if you weren't here, but it just makes it that much more special that you guys are watching with us and participating the way that you guys do. I do want to say we are going to have next, I think, 3 more weeks of uninterrupted. Right now that's the plan. Things can change, but the plan is for 3 more weeks of uninterrupted Sunless Citadel, during which time I'm fairly confident the party is going to wrap this portion. But if you are not aware, you're going to find out now. Things will not end with the Sunless Citadel. Oh no! We will be continuing in the new year with this group on this time with a new chapter called The Forge of Fury. And though I'm not going to say who just yet, right now the domain dice aren't going away. They're just I'm gonna lift them up and kind of move them up here to the top. We are going to be adding a 5th person in this spot below me. And we'll be excited once this ends, or rather this chapter ends, to bring that new player in to join the party on their further adventures. So I think that just about covers everything I wanted to cover. So we're going to go around one more time and let everybody kind of, your final thoughts. Nothing silly this time about favorite fruits or anything like that. Just any final thoughts. Tell us where we can find you. And we're going to start with V this time. And if you can get her to pop in one more time, V has one of the terror muffins with her. She can pop in and say hi. The Mike, it's the singiest.
Mike better freaking be watching this time. So I'm V.
It's the singiest.
This is the singiest muffin. I played the bard. She is the bard.
That's Kelly the Opera Geek.
Yes, follow her on Twitter.
Yes,
follow
absolutely. Follow all the Terror Muffins. Follow all these guys
on Twitter, and we promise we'll make you laugh. For sure. But I'm V. I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse, and I show you how to make terrain, paint minis, do other fun stuff like that. Like I said, you can find us on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook, where I have a group as well as our Tabletop Crafters group. So please come over onto Facebook and find us all over there. And you're going to find me this weekend at PAX Unplugged. I have a couple appearances, and I'm also doing a workshop Saturday morning starting at 11, however you need to get your tickets. At 9 a.m., there's a strong chance that they might sell out, so they're encouraging people to get there early for their tickets. But tomorrow I will be painting with Realm Smith from 3 to 5 with Holly Conrad, it seems. And then the next day I will be over at Game Trade Media painting with Rick from 2 to 3, another miniature. So yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be busy, but definitely come over and say hi if you see me.
Absolutely follow at the Crafting Muse on Twitter. Or just look for the Crafting Muse. V, much like me, is all over social media. I should say more so. V is on top of it like mad. And since we were talking about V, who played Cantriel, we are going to jump over to the side to Griveth. Hot Brimstone.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a new hashtag. That's a new hashtag for our game, Hot Brimstone. Hot Brimstone. All right, Scotty.
All right. First off, I wanted to ask V, did you get your 6K subscribers?
That's a good question. I'm getting close. I can find out right now.
That's a great question.
So if she's not there, well, anyways, if she is there, I don't care. Go to her channel, subscribe, please. Anybody who's watching this, go subscribe, and anybody who knows somebody that likes this stuff, go subscribe. So yeah, we want
27 away. 27 away.
Okay, come on, guys. We got
27.
this. 27. Come on.
We've got almost that many people in the watching the game, and people that'll watch later.
People.
So do it. Do it.
Also, we had the pleasure at the Tabletop Crafters Guild when we went to the Mace convention in Charlotte to indoctrinate our new guild master V. So in the Tabletop Crafters Guild, it was a lot of fun to surprise her with that. Bill and I surprised her. Bill Wylock and I surprised her, and wow, that was fun. And I'm so glad that she's decided to join us and bring her just talent and enthusiasm and just attitude to the community that we all love. So thank you, V. Sorry, I get a little emotional. Thank you, V. I appreciate that. And guys, I am telling you, we had the most fun at Mace. I love Mace. Mace is like a homie. It's not one of these crazy conventions where you're just a number. It's like people are hanging out with us and having lunch with us, and we got to meet all these people. And I got the game with so many people. I actually got the game in Wylock's game. That was so cool with my family and V, which was awesome because I don't get, I mostly DM except with you, Jake. And like, it's so great to get to play. Sorry, I'm rambling on, but it was fun. I ran some index card RPG, Hanker and Furnell's game, which was just a blast. I just love running ICRPG. I did this scenario where it's like the center of the earth kind of thing, and I had full terrain. And my daughter, it's funny, my daughter like is my terrain slave, and so she gets everything set up for me and like hands it to me as I game. So that's totally awesome.
It's actually quite a well-oiled system. I mean, she's handing it. It was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it's just like there's almost no downtime. Like it's, by the time they realize, they look up, they look down, there's new terrain on the table. So pretty awesome. And wow, it's just fun. We had like a craft off, which was so fun. People came, they got a box of crafting supplies, and they had like, what was it, 24 hours, V, to make
22 hours
out of this junk.
Yeah.
And
22 hours to make something. It was awesome.
It was amazing. It was like the stuff they came up with was amazing in 24 hours. And like, there were like great prizes, like a 3D printer and a Proxion and, the wire cutter and all this cool stuff. So, the guys that run it, they love us terrain crafters. So they're so nice to us. They gave me a little award this year for bringing the other crafters in and everything. So guys, if you can come, to Mace next year, come, because I'm going every year. So if you want to be in my game,
November 8th through 10th next year, I believe.
Yes, thank you. I also go to Mace West because my daughter lives in. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on. I go to Mace West because my daughter. I figured it's after the episode, so I can ramble on a little bit. But I go to. We're not holding anybody up; they can leave if they want. But I also go to Mace West, which is a smaller con that Mace does, and it's in Asheville, North Carolina. Which, if you don't know Asheville, it's a super cool place to go just to even visit, to be there. It's this little gem, of a place, and so I go there to game too. So check that out also. But who am I? Oh yeah, I'm DM Scotty. I have a channel called theDMsCraft, and I'm part of the Tabletop Crafters Guild with V and everybody. And check all that stuff out. You can type in DMsCraft, you'll find me, blah, blah, blah. And also Quest Givers is a new thing we're doing. Awesome modules. I'm so excited. I've been doing terrain pictures, and I've been making these monsters to take for pictures for the modules. It's so cool. They're so cool. And I can't wait for you guys to see all this content. But anyways, I'm rambling on long enough. So let's go to the next person. You guys take care. Happy crafting, happy gaming, and I can't wait to come back next week. Oh, one last thing. Sorry. You haven't got rid of me yet. One last thing. Jake, I just want to give you a round of applause. Thank you so much for doing this for us. And you guys are. This has been such a fun game. This is one of the best games I have ever been in, and like I say, I don't get to play too much, but when I do, it's a pleasure to play with a DM as good as you are, Jake. So thank you for curating this group and letting us do our stuff. And you guys are just amazing. Thank you. I'm done.
Man, thanks. I love DMing. I love telling stories, and I love playing D&D with people that love it as much as I do. And that's why this group works so well together. Honestly, and I know Jeremy talked a lot about being a little starstruck when he first joined the campaign. But, at this point, God, it's probably been 6 years now. When I first started playing D&D after like a 16-year hiatus, I was asked to DM for 4th edition. I had never DM'd before. And, they had a lot of the battle mats and stuff. And I was like, this is paper. I feel like I could do something with it. And I started looking stuff up online, and I stumbled across, I watched a few other videos here and there, but I came across this guy calling himself theDMsCraft. And he was just this long-haired, goofy guy with a glue gun and cardboard. And I just kept finding his videos fascinating. And one of the first things I ever made was the giant purple worm that it's kind of sitting up here on the shelf. I don't think you can fully see it. Maybe if I tilt my camera a little bit. But I've brought it out before. You can find it on my Twitter and some other stuff. But I made the giant purple worm. I even did the armor plating the correct way. But that was 100% the start of my love of crafting and ultimately getting me to start my own crafting channel. So it's an honor. I never thought I would be running a game for the person who kind of got me into terrain crafting. So I'm glad that I can, for all of you, but Scotty, I know you DM a ton and you don't get to play a lot. So I'm glad that you could be a part of this and kind of get your opportunity. And we're fortunate that you get to play with all these amazing people. And a shout out to Bill, to Wylock, for putting together the game he did that put V and I together. And V and I played characters that I was the bard, or no.
You were the rogue.
I was the rogue in that game.
You were the rogue. I was the straight and narrow ranger.
And our characters had an interesting dynamic. It wasn't quite hot brimstone.
No, but you ended up being my brother-in-law.
But yeah, there was some weird like that. But it was Wylock that put us together. But at any rate, Wylock still, he's like, stop. No, Bill, if it wasn't for you, this game might not have happened.
Yeah.
And, huge shout out, we're going to drop down to Megan and Jeremy, but Megan, you and I play in, I think if you really went and looked for each of us, it's probably a good 80 or 90% of our gaming is with each other, running games for each other. I mean, I have 3 streaming campaigns on this channel, and Megan's in every one of them. And I've played in a lot of games on her channel, and she's going to tell you hopefully about something coming up that I'm also going to be a part of. Let's go down to Megan, as apparently this is turning into a sappiness, but it's genuine. It really is. Megan.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Megan. And I'm half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, and starting in January, I will be making my first attempt of running a module, which Jake is in, along with some other really great players, and we'll be playing Curse of Strahd. So look for that. I'm very, very excited. Yeah. It's the creepy gothic horror is right up my alley, so hopefully
I I cannot wait to see what you're gonna do with it.
So yeah, I'm so excited. So yeah, that will be starting in the new year. And yeah, I think I echo wholeheartedly everything that has been said about this group. It is fantastic. It's always the perfect amount of like beer and pretzels and like meaningful role play, which is the best of both worlds. So I'm having a blast. And yeah.
And last, no, not yeah, because I jumped around. It's throwing me off. Last, but certainly not least, in a unique position, though not weekly, but the games are longer. I got to play in an amazing game, the start of a new campaign with Jeremy that Jeremy's running on Erasmus Expeditions. If you look in the chat, if you're on YouTube watching this later, the links to everybody's social media and YouTube channels is down below. Please, if you haven't, subscribe to them all. But check out Erasmus Expeditions. He runs some incredible games, and we just kicked off a new campaign happening monthly. And just some amazing players, and it was just so cool to be a part of it. And Jeremy, you just let us world build alongside you in these games. So Jeremy, please.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yes, the start of the campaign last night was a lot of fun. The 5 of you guys were fantastic. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where that campaign's going to take all of us. It's a strange world, and I'm really glad to have 5 very, very strong role players kind of helping to build and shape it as we're going. Very much similar to this game. I think there's probably going to be a lot less laughter than there is in this game, but that's not a difficult thing to do, because we spend a good portion of this game laughing. Everybody here is just so easy to get along with, and it makes role playing really easy whenever you're comfortable with a group like this. So yeah. I have, like Jake said, the YouTube channel, the Erasmus Expeditions. I do a lot of live plays. I have a couple of crafting videos. Hopefully, I'll get around to being able to make some more. I have to quit playing first because I don't end up with very many free nights. I also have videos where I talk about RPGs, and a video series I started lately called Help Action, where I interview people about specific topics. The first episode is up already. It's with Matt Click. It's about storytelling in RPGs. My second guest will be a friend of mine named Alan Holloway. We're going to be talking about setting tone. The third episode will be with Megan. She will be joining me talking about invoking emotion, particularly scary stuff. She's supposed to be very good at that. And my fourth episode should be with our GM, Jake. We're going to be talking about showmanship. I mean, who better to have on the show to discuss showmanship than to have Jake? So anyways, yeah, come and check it out. I'm also 1/3 of a podcast that pops up occasionally on YouTube called The Dudes of Yore with my friends Jeff Doty and Chad Nick, both really awesome guys that are very, very intelligent and know a lot about RPGs. So yeah, I've already said most of the mushy stuff, but I love playing D&D. I've been playing D&D for a long, long time, and I just discovered playing online about 3 years ago or so, and I haven't looked back since. It's fantastic because I get to be in games like this with people who, like you said, Jake, who enjoy the game as much as I do and put as much verve into playing as I do. And yeah, it's just a very, very rewarding experience to be a part of something like this. So I sincerely thank you for letting me be a part, for inviting me into this.
I am at MTD_Jake right here below my beard, or on my beard, depending on my positioning, is my Twitter handle. That's the best place to figure out what I'm doing, what's going on with the channel. Real quick, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and at least following on Twitch. Please subscribe on YouTube. Hit the little bell that's going to let you know when we go live, or rather when new content is posted. There's a new community feature on YouTube that has kind of like a feed where whenever I post videos, I'll be utilizing that, and also setting announcements. So I think if you hit the bell, you'll get notified on those things as well. We're at just under 8,700 subscribers, 8,700 subscribers on the YouTube channel. When that reaches 9,000 subscribers, I will be announcing my 10,000 subscriber giveaway. And that will be broadly, it's not limited just to YouTube, but it is a celebration of heading towards that milestone of 10,000. And I will make that announcement when I hit 9,000. So I need about 300 plus people to go subscribe so we can unlock that announcement. Also, be sure to follow on Twitter just so you can figure out in a couple weeks, once we wrap the Sunless Citadel chapter, I will announce who the 5th player that will be joining us for Forge of Fury is. In the meantime, just thank you, everybody. Remember, Mini Terrain Domain has 3 simple words as a tagline, and I think they're the most important for gaming and crafting and just life in general. Imagine, build, play. And with that, we are going to head out of this stream first with a hot brimstone. One last time. And then I'm going to end the stream the same way I end the stream every week. And you can say it with me if you want.
Da, 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 da.